Good grades, bad grades. Chapter 13. Luke. My first 9 weeks' grades weren't what I hoped they would be. I'm actually studying and trying harder than I ever had before. But these 11th grade classes are a lot harder than any I've ever taken. So my grades have been pretty much like they always have been. Everything from good to average to awful. I had an A in U.S. history, and a big reason for that were the projects that Marcus and I did on slavery and religion, plus the one on the War of 1812. I got a B in English because I didn't do any of the writing prompts that Miss Roach assigned for homework. I know she's frustrated with me because I won't do the prompts to help us prepare for the state test. One day before class, she asked me why I wouldn't do them because I was such a good writer. And I told her that was precisely the reason I wasn't doing those stupid prompts, that they were juvenile and silly. I mean, the last two prompts were, why you should not set your aims too low, and do you think having a positive attitude is important? Should I take the position that setting my aims and goals in life really low would be the right thing? Should I take the position that a sucky attitude leads to a successful life? I asked Miss Roach why should I waste an hour of my time after school doing such ridiculous crap. I'm stressed out all the time. I don't get home from cross country until nearly 7. I've got to eat something, and then I've got like 4 hours of homework to do. I asked her if I should neglect my remedial math class where I have a high F and have got to bring it up to a low D, or do I neglect the chemistry class where I have a low D and am desperately trying to keep the grade from becoming a high F. She didn't really have an answer for that, except to say that these were the prompts handed down by the state for the state test, and it was crucial that we all did well. I told her we were in honors class, and nobody in there was in danger of failing the English state test, and she knew that. Why couldn't we write about something that was more relevant to our lives? I don't know for sure, but I think she's frustrated about how much emphasis she has to place on the state test, and that she'd like to tell us that they're a bunch of crap. Then there's Spanish 3 class, and the C- average that's got future D written all over it. The other day, we were taking turns reading out loud, and the first word of my sentence started with ahora. Miss Young interrupted me as soon as I started. Luke, it's not pronounced ahora. Man, she was mad. The class erupted in laughter. Then she added, the letter H should be like good children, seen but not heard. That last remark really hurt. I wasn't intentionally trying to screw up. She asked me to read some more, and the next sentence started off with me llamo. Once again, she interrupted me. Luke, it's not me llamo. It's me llamo. And again, everybody in class was laughing at me. I'm not trying to be stupid. This stuff is hard to pronounce. Miss Young then went on about the importance of the preterite and imperfect tenses. She said the preterite tells us specifically when an action takes place. The imperfect tells us in general when an action took place. How the heck are we supposed to tell whether the speaker is being general or definite when I can barely make out what he's saying in the first place? I'm studying those new vocabulary words every night, and then we'll have a whole new set the next night, and it seems like I forget about half the words I learned the night before. The bad stuff continued when Miss Whitney called me to the guidance office. I figured it had to be about whether I was eligible for special services in math. Sure enough, that was it. I knew that Granddaddy had to go to school for a meeting with my math teacher, Miss Roberts, and Miss Whitney as part of the process based on my child's study. I had taken a standardized math test a couple of weeks ago, and I felt like I scored really bad on it. And from the way she started her talk, I must have. Everyone has weaknesses, and math is yours, Luke. You have a collaborative teacher to help you in math will be a very good thing and not put a label on you. I know you're worried about that. Yep, it sure won't be embarrassing when it's time to do something about the stupid kids. When Miss Roberts motions for Miss Carey to take the 7 dumbest kids in remedial math, including me, to the special ed office for extra help, every single person in class is going to think, there goes all the lucky kids. I sure wish I could be going with them. Oh my, oh yes, it must be wonderful to be so stupid in a remedial math class. The best thing that happened to me all of last week was getting to go run for miles on a national forest trail as part of the cross-country practice. It felt so, the word is freeing, to be outside and just running past trees, creeks, and mountainsides. Those things that I love so much. It was almost as good as going off into the mountains to hunt and fish. One day, I went off the main trail onto a spur to see if the wild grapes I know that grow there were ripe. They were too. I pulled off a cluster and ate as I ran. When I got back on the main trail, I saw Leah sitting on a rock. She said she had turned her ankle and was in pain. I found a stout walking stick for her to use to help keep the weight off her ankle. She asked me not to run off and leave her. She said she was afraid that she would have to walk out by herself in the dark. I said I would walk with her. I could tell she'd never been out in the forest before. She kept asking if there were bears and mountain lions around. I said that mountain lions have been extinct for over 150 years in our state, and that bears are usually only a threat if humans accidentally separate a sow from her cub. About an hour later, a couple of our teammates came looking for us. They said Coach Gothridge figured that something must have happened. It was nice walking and talking with her. I had always assumed she was an airhead because she used to date Caleb, but she's not.